Hello and welcome to this third part in my series about designing a magic set. And today I'm going to be talking about white commons. And as you can see here, I've taken, well, if you're familiar with Crimson Vow, I've taken the commons from Crimson Vow as a sort of skeleton, something that I can base my own design on. As the ultimate goal is to just understand the process, not necessarily to come up with something great because, well, I don't have the opportunity to actually test this stuff. But okay, so what I did was I looked at all the comments from Crimson Vow, and on this page, specifically white commons, and I listed them, creatures first, in the order of their cost, and I haven't actually changed this cost at all. These are the same. The spells are not the same, but the creatures are. And I wanted to, well, okay, so my thinking is that this has, obviously not every set is going to be exactly the same, but they have been doing this for quite a while, so they must have an idea on how this works. So they have an idea on the curve you need for each color. Now, white has more creatures than the other colors. I can show you, although these are just empty skeletons right now, but as you can see, the last one here is Dreadlight Monstrosity, meaning 11 creatures. Here you have Unhallowed Phalanx, again 11 creatures, Fire Spawn, meaning 11 creatures, and Flourishing Hunter, meaning 11 creatures. But white has 12. And on top of that, Nurturing Presence creates new creatures. Well, at least one new creature. Did Supernatural Rescue? I've never actually seen this played. I'll have to check. Usually I do remember, no it doesn't. Usually I do remember most commons pretty well, since I do usually do dozens of drafts on each set, so I'm fairly, so you see comments over and over again, but I don't remember seeing Supernatural Rescue or Sanctify for that matter, but that's like enchantment destruction. Okay, but yeah. Okay, so also you want to note that white has more creatures, and white has on top of having the 12 creatures listed here, there's an additional effect that produces a creature. Now, well, yeah, the sizing thing. So Traveling Minister is, there's 2 1-drops, 3 2-drops, 3 3-drops, 2 4-drops, and 2 5-drops. Whereas, okay, 1-drop, 2-drop, 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 3-drop, 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 4-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop, 6-drop. So in general, blue has a higher curve than white, and same with black. So 1-drop, 2-drop, 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 3-drop, 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 4-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop, Unhallowed Phalanx. That's a 5-drop as well. So a little bit smaller than blue. Red is pretty much same as blue. 1-drop, 2-drop, 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 3-drop, 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 4-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop, 6-drop. Yeah. And so is green. Again, one top two, but one drop, 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drop, 4 drop, 5 drop, and 6 drop. So white is clearly the smallest, but that can mean many things. Like, does that mean that, okay, that white simply has like better creature quality compared to the casting cost? And yes, well, this used to be the case, but it's not anymore. It does have generally somewhat better creature quality than blue and maybe red. But at the same time, well, black also used to have worse creature quality than white, but black has been gaining in this respect. But yeah, and in terms, the other way to look at it is, okay, white is going to be on board faster than the other colors, at least in limited. So I want that's what I wanted to do here. As you can see, I wanted to make aggressive creatures. So I do have 1 mana 2/2 here, with okay, I called new arrival that can attack or block alone. But okay, so in general, what I wanted to do was the people in this world are a weird compilation of creatures from the intelligent races here are just peoples from different planes. So there's going to be a mix of all sorts of species. And well, I actually listed in another document that Loxodon might be white, and I think I'll have a Loxodon at least one in uncommons, but we'll see. I do have one white-black uncommon Loxodon already, which I showed you last time. But okay, so we have humans, we have cats, and we have birds, and there's one ox as well, but that's that's an animal. The cats and the birds are just anthropomorphic cats and anthropomorphic intelligent birds and cats from planes where such things exist. My thinking is that most of the birds are going to be from Strixhaven, where the chances of such things happening are quite high, and the cats are from probably from Theros. I don't know, have a specific explanation how they end up here, but maybe it's Ashiok. Yeah. And okay, so some of the humans don't have classes at all. I have new arrivals who just at this point are completely incapable of acting on their own. And then we have what I'm calling walking larder at this point. So this is pretty basic creature of just I don't know just a grizzly bear. But if it's discarded or surveyed in the graveyard, create food. So this is one of those themes I have. I have this theme of, okay, surveil theme. There's a lot of things that surveil, but there's also things that look at what's being surveilled. Like in this case, if this specific card is surveilled into the graveyard, you create a food. Maybe I should just let you gain life. That would be easier. Yeah, I'll do that. And well, food, should I put the type as human food? No, that I don't know. That would be too dark for children's fantasy game. Anyway, 3 is the common thing that you gain from food, so that's good. But anyway, so I have humans, pure humans. I have, and then and the classes humans. Then I have a few clerics. I have one human cleric, one cat cleric, and one bird cleric. I wanted to show that the the church, the name of which I forgot. Let's check. It's here, Church of the Desolate. That they're not interested in. They're not racist or speciesist. Instead, they want a strong organization that can easily manipulate the newcomers, and they can build on that. So they will have, and so I also did the same thing with soldiers, because they have their own army. So there's a human soldier here, and a bird soldier, and a cat soldier. And yeah, so the theme as well, I have, okay, so there's the, let's call them victims, because I have the new arrivals and the walking ladder, which probably needs a better name, but anyway, and escapees, who are people who have escaped the Church of the Desolate. This also needs a better name. A lot of these actually need a better name, but well, the idea for the name right now is just to give you an idea that what these cards are about. So we have these on top of the religious order, which I have, so 6 different cards, 3 clerics and 3 soldiers. So representing that, and then I have these poor souls that come under the influence of this organization. Also, I have protective governance, which is again an intelligent bird, but since I did include this idea that in the green-white, where is it? Here, creatures, 1/1 creatures you control have hexproof. So this is idea of trying to build a future. So I need these, protecting the children, which 1/1 represents right now. Which I mean is not exactly consistent with earlier sets, but let's not concern ourselves with that. So this creature creates a 1/1 bird token with flying. So that's the idea, that this bird has its own child, and yeah. So just again the idea that the idea that I should add that bird token should be white. So the idea that there are still people, although this place is a dead end for most people, there still are some folk who are trying to build a new future for their families or their people or whatever, and this protective governance is one of them. Yeah. So let's look at, okay, so I talked about the new arrival, oracle text can't attack or block alone. So that's a pretty common white mechanic. Well, you see it every now and then, like I guess Loyal Pegasus had this both. So yeah, that I decided to do that. And yeah, so part of the idea is that these days the commons are often quite strong. So I mean, the 1-drops are these days quite playable. So I wanted to maintain that. And as you can see, the human cleric can tap to give +1/+1 until end of turn to target cleric. So there's plenty of clerics here. So that's an on-board combat trick. But since it's pretty limited, since you need another cleric, or it can actually pump itself as well, so it's a better blocker than it seems to be. But yeah, the idea again here is that you just yeah. So this is called unschooled predicant. So again, like how I see this religious organization. I already mentioned that at least one of the members is from Ravnica. So the member from so like the I have here the white black. Where is it? Oh, here. Its cleric you control gains +1/+1 from Ravnica used to be a member of Selesnya. So this is a Loxodon. So this should be elephant. So yeah, they're from Ravnica. So these clergy from Ravnica, they have an idea on how these things function. Of course, this environment is different, but they know how how that specific organization, at least outwardly, approaches these things. I'll probably have some, like on higher levels, I probably have some higher rarities. I'll have some clerics who are specifically from Ravnica, also who have an idea on how this works. And yeah, so they have an interest in, taking those people who have that organizational skill and hopefully some theological studies and so forth, and they want to take those in, like it's like these birds from Strixhaven. There are clerics in the at the Strixhaven University. So, or is it the college, whatever. So they also understand theology. So they've used this understanding to build this organization. But since they won't have that many of those people, there's a limited amount of these kinds of people who have ended up here. So they just patch so they just, those places they need more people for whatever reason. So they just named someone who is, like I said here, unschooled. So they lack that understanding, but they're eager to take part because they just, they want to be part of this organization because it gives them safety, and probably they just, hungry for power and so forth. So yeah, so this is that kind of guy. Doesn't really know. In my head, this is a man. Obviously, it's a common, so it can be either sex, but either gender. Anyway, so yeah, this is that kind of person. Just doesn't really have a clue, but it's still, they see that, okay, this is someone they can use. The hierarchy understand that this is someone they can use. So he's there to help the other clerics. So yeah, that's where the ability comes from. I thought maybe this should be a 1/2 because of the uncommon creature that gives hex boost to 1/1s, and this definitely isn't a child. But also, I did want there to be random creatures that could be helped by that ability on that other creature. Yeah, then the walking ladder, which just makes life. Then temple guard. This definitely needs a little bit more name. So human soldier, 2 mana 2/2, and if you control a cleric, card name has lifelink and vigilance. This is something that mentioned otherwise as well. So the soldiers for this organization are, they're pretty good, but they're better if they are helped by the clerics, because I did want to, enforce the idea that this organization is there, and the organization is strong, and they built the organization in such a way that there are synergies between the different parts. even though not everything works. Not the bird soldier here doesn't have any cleric specific abilities, but the two other common soldiers have. The cat soldier here, eager lackeys, 4 mana 3/3 when card name ETPs. If you control a cleric, draw a card. So this is reminiscent of the uncommon from Crimson Bow. It's a 3 mana 3/2 which draws you a card if you control another human. So I thought, okay, I'll do something similar, but I'll just make it a little bit more expensive so that so that it's not as easy to trigger. And also I have less clerics than there are humans in Crimson Vow. So I think this is still okay on as a common. So where was I? Oh yeah, the temple card. So if you control a cleric, the temple card has lifelink and vigilance. Inquisitor. So this is Vampire Slayer. So I thought this could have pretty much the same ability, but I don't have such an enemy race here or enemy class or anything like that. So I thought, okay, so if this guy's or gal, if this thing is called Inquisitor, so I thought that okay, so it's what it's going to be interested in is heresy. So it's going to go after things that are not white, basically. So if you're a cleric, summon, wizard, or druid, if that creature is blue, black, red, or green, destroy that creature when it deals damage. So there's like a death touch, which triggers against these specific classes. Yeah, if that character is blue, black, red, or green, that means that if it's multicolored and one of those colors is white, it still triggers the ability. Then Grief Rider, which your basic 3 mana 2/2 flying, but when it ETP Surveil 1, which is underpowered today. Usually the 3 mana 2/2s have a better ability than this, but yeah, I don't know. I thought that it might have like a prowess ability similar to prowess, so whenever you surveil, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. But maybe it needs a boost. Although there are other ways I'm trying to make flying good, so it might not be necessary to give it anything additional. Just the fact that it's a flyer might be good enough. When I get to blue, I haven't written down any of the blue ideas yet, but when I get to blue, I'm going to push flying, probably on an uncommon level rather than common level. But anyway, SKP. Okay, so the idea here is that so this is probably above curve. 3 mana 3/3 is probably above curve for common, so maybe this should be actually 3/2. So when it enters the battlefield, tap target creature. So someone the idea here is that when this person escapes, it distracts some creature, so it taps that. Whatever. I'm not sure it comes through very well, but I just wanted to give it like a usable ability, situational but usable ability. Then we have the recruiters, which are 3 mana 2/3s, and when it ETP Surveil 1, if you surveil one or more white creatures with CMC less than 3 into your graveyard this turn, you may return it to your hand. So yeah, so this is surveil synergies, and it surveils itself as well. But if you surveil more this turn, again, you'll get a chance to get those cards. And since it's white often looks at White is often interested specifically in small creatures. These graveyard abilities often target specifically small creatures in white, so that's why I put the limitation there. And obviously, I don't want it to be too powerful either. This might be a little bit. This might have a little bit too small, too low of a floor, but well, gladly I'm not going to test this. What else? Okay, I went through Eager Lackeys, and then Sycophantic, Chaplain, Bird Cleric, Flying Lifelink, pretty basic stuff. Usually these are somewhat more complicated, like the Heron of Hope didn't actually have, it had flying, it was 4 mana, 2/3, but it could gain lifelink by paying 2 mana or 1 and a white. And it also had the extra text that if you gain life, you gain 1 more. Yeah, Protected Governance, I talked about this already. And Very Ox. So I just wanted, okay, so like the creatures on this plane are not native either. So they are somewhat, so many of them just die because they, it's just, they can't take the new environment they're put in. Because well, yeah, whatever. The environments are going to change quite fast and there might not be enough food for them and so forth. So, but okay, so this ox has been around, maybe not very long while, but has been around, long enough that it's learned that it has to be careful. So I thought that, okay, so if they see a creature enter the battlefield, it will gain vigilance. So, the flavor being that it will start to pay attention to its surroundings. And if another creature enters the battlefield, then it gains first strike until end of turn. So now it's how should I put it? Well, now it's in let's say fight mode. And then we have, okay, the spells. So again, I wanted to keep this pretty similar to Crimson Vow. So I wanted to have a limited number of removal, which is more quite effective removal in general. And I wanted to have a couple of combat tricks. And I wanted to have a couple of effects that are more specific to this set. Although I guess I should have added some artifact or enchantment removal because that's something that happens in white all the time. So maybe I should have had like disenchant effect. But on the other hand, it's not that important because there isn't necessarily much to target. But okay, so the removal, I just put in, okay, outflank, which is from not the newest Zendikar, but the Zendikar before that. So it deals to target creature as much as damage as you have creatures. So maybe I'll change that to something else. But it felt right, like in this, like from a flavor point of view. So because white is mainly the religious organization, which keeps others like, well, which basically dominates by pure numbers. So that's why I thought that would be a good idea. And then, okay, but the other side, then God of Guard. So yeah, well, okay, again, flavor here. You don't know what's going on in this world because for most of the people working there, this is something completely different from what they know. They simply don't have an like they don't have an idea what's going on in this world. So there's a chance that something happens, and they're just not ready for it. So yeah, so that's a theme here. I don't know, it might be an ambush, or it might be just someone backstabbing them, or it might be, like an ancient ruin falling on them or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just something that, they unexpected. So I thought, okay, so it's an instant, like basically it's either like swift, what's it called? Yeah, swift response, which is, one and a white, destroy target tapped creature an instant. But I also added this, the other probably less likely to be used functionality, which is just the tap target creature, which can be good sometimes. It's you're probably going to use the destroy target creature, but you might be in a situation when you want to use. So I just wanted to add some flexibility, because as well, sometimes you do have these situations where the opponent has a creature with vigilance and you're just unable to attack through it. Actually, I'm going to change this a little bit. No, that's not. So, okay, just okay, maybe I'm thinking about this perhaps a little bit too much as a software engineer. So when a creature enters the battlefield under your control, card name gains vigilance until end of turn. Then when a creature ATPs, if it was the second creature to ATP this turn, card name enters first strike. Okay, so so it also looks at this other ability, also looks at the opponent's creatures. So I'm not sure if that will have much impact, but although it might make this more complicated, you have to remember that. You have to notice that, for example. But anyway, that's why. Okay, so yeah, one more thing about the code of guard. It does have the added. It does. Okay, so of course, two code of guards have synergy among themselves. If you have like problematic creature that the opponent won't attack with or has vigilance, you can tap the creature with the first one and then destroy it with the second one. But obviously you don't want to do that because that's 2-for-1ing yourself. But sometimes you have to do that. But the other thing is that this is why I gave the escapee this specific ability, so tap target creature. So it works with the code of guard. And then the last removal, so food source, which is the basic pacifism or banishing light or whatever. I guess this is a combination of those, since it costs as much as banishing light, but the effects are closer to pacifism. So yeah, that's and I actually apparently I just wrote down pacifism, so it can't attack or block. And yeah, and then you can exile the creature and gain 3 life. So again, food. Then the combat tricks. Again, I went with okay. So what I actually did was I looked at all the combat tricks in white that are legal in I think it was Pioneer was the limit, and just went through them looking for names that I found interesting. And I had this specific idea that it's the escapees here. I don't know why actually. I don't know why I wanted to do this that way, but like I wanted to have this idea that for some reason, these two combat tricks are something that someone is acting against the religious hierarchy. So that's why Defiant Strike, they're defying the hierarchy, or Feat of Resistance, they, well, again, resisting the hierarchy. So those are the two combat tricks, both are reprints. If you don't remember these, Defiant Strike is +1/+0 until end of turn, draw a card. Very good in some sets, not all. You know, it's 1 mana, so it's generally pretty good. And then Feat of Resistance is 1 and white, and it gives target creature protection from a chosen color until the end of turn, and also gives it a +1/+1 counter. I'm trying to figure out where these were last time, but I think Feat of Resistance was in the last core set. And Defiant Strike, it's originally from Khan's, or the Khan's block, but it was reprinted. I think it was core set as well, not sure. Okay, but then there's the two enchantments which are meant to be more about the world of this specific set. So there's Forward Observation. Enchant creature gains +1/+1 and gains whenever this creature attacks Surveil 1. So, you know, Surveil synergies, or, you know, Surveil in itself is pretty good. Then Supernatural Rescue. Whenever you surveil a creature to the graveyard, create 1/1 human creature souls a token. So this is just an enchantment. So there's that. I'm not sure where I go with the blue quite yet, but the idea for the blue is that they're going to be more of scouts and researchers and people who are looking actively to get out of this situation. So you'll probably get a lot of wizards and scouts and maybe an artificer, or maybe the artificer should be of higher rarity, someone who's trying to build like a new planar bridge or whatever. That's actually a good idea. Yeah, I need to have someone. Yeah, it could be someone from Kaladesh who's aware of the planar bridge. And for some reason, yeah, okay. But so, well, this is it for this time. You know, use the functionality here, comment and like, subscribe, whatever, if you feel like it. Yeah, I don't know when I'll be able to do it the next time, because again, I haven't even gotten started with the blue, but hopefully not too long. Thanks for listening.